Joining us right now to react. Kirk Lippold is the former commanding officer of the U.S.S. Cole. Commander Lippold, thanks very much for weighing in this morning. We're happy you're here. Is President Trump's unconventional negotiating style good or bad when it comes to dealing with Russia?
Oh, good morning, Maria. I think it's going to be good because if there's nothing else, Putin's always going to try and keep whatever opponent he meets with off balance. And when President Trump meets with him, there is no predictability, which means that in some ways Putin is going to be held just as off guard as others are meeting with him.
What's your take on what Robert McFarlane just told us, the former NSA director under President Reagan, that basically the Middle East is going nuclear? And that Russia wants to provide the weaponry to deals already in place in Egypt and Turkey, among other places. Is this a major worry that the president should be focused on during this summit?
I think it's a long-term concern, Maria. When you look at what Russia is trying to do, they're trying to export and keep their weapons in the hands of countries that they can use. It supports their economy. It keeps their arms industry going, which, of course, undergirds what they're doing. So I think we'll have to look at it for a long-term thing. It is of concern because primary also is the United States has invested a lot over decades throughout the Middle East. We need to ensure that we can maintain that influence. I know that Egypt is a primary concern. We want to make sure that we keep that area stabilized because obviously our close ally, Israel, is going to be very worried about the extent of Russian influence throughout there, and especially with the growing concern with Iran.
Is there concern, do you have concern that we seem to be passive with Russian gains in the Jordan of all places, Egypt of all places, both countries dependent on us, Turkey, and what do we do about Turkey? First Egypt and Jordan and then Turkey.
When you look at Egypt and Jordan both, I think the concern there is going to be that they are gaining influence, the last thing we want to have. But when you look at it, the United States has very close relations with the senior military leaders in both of those countries, especially in Jordan. When you look at Turkey, Turkey is becoming more and more problematic. President Erdogan is continuing to develop and create a more authoritarian regime there. The fact that they are getting the S-400 missile system from Russia, which runs counter to virtually everything in NATO, is clearly going to create problems for Turkey in the long run. As a NATO member, having Russian weapons runs counter to almost everything that that organization stands for.
So what do we do with Erdogan? What do we do with Turkey? Just let it play out, or what?
I don't think we let it play out. I think we continue to work to influence Turkey to come back within NATO. I think we work with NATO to figure out enticement.
What do we offer them? What pressure points do we have?
I think the pressure points are going to be first and foremost economic. Then we look at it diplomatically. Then we look at it with respect to NATO membership. Ultimately, may be up for discussion because Turkey is clearly not doing what is necessary to enhance and build the alliance to be strengthened. They are working counter to it when you look at what they're getting from Russia.
Commander Mary Kissel from the Wall Street Journal editorial board here. I'm surprised that you didn't put military at the top of that list because essentially we're not giving Erdogan any choice, because we're not really that present in Syria. What other choice does he have but to cooperate with Russia and to try to push back on Assad himself? Same thing goes with Israel. They're cooperating with Putin because they don't think we're going to get involved in the Syrian civil war. So isn't the issue here that Putin is changing the facts on the ground and we are not?
The problem is, I think, is that the American people have made it very clear that in many ways in the Middle East, while the U.S. can be engaged, we're being limited on what we can do. I think we are unwilling to do what's necessary to topple the Assad regime because of our concern about Russia and in the region. When you look at Turkey, the fact that they do not want Assad in power, by the same token, every time we've gone in there, they see it as influencing the Kurds and giving them, in fact, power, which the Turks do not want on their southern border.
But so we're Turkey, the only people who can broker a deal between the Kurds and the Turks. If we're not there, that deal is never going to happen.
We're going to have to be there, and I think we will continue to remain engaged with them, especially the Kurds in northern Iraq. But when you look at the extension across there, Turkey right now has made it very clear they do not want any Kurdish state to ever come into existence. That has been a long-standing policy. If we start to broach that subject with them and come up with the limits of how we're going to do that, we may see progress. But right now, the window is not going to be there for us to do that except through diplomatic and economic means. I'd never like to put the military options first because I think that that's just the easy way out. We have other instruments of national power that can be more effectively used if we, in fact, exercise them.
Commander, thank you. Thank you very much for your insights this morning. We appreciate it. Commander Kirk Lippold joining us there.